Good morning, Ms. Asim. Good morning, Ms. Killian. Good morning, General.
Morning, Chair. Chair, before we begin with the rest of the evidence continuing from yesterday, we've received a further statement that is relevant for this witness's evidence. You should have it in front of you. It's marked file 10C, and it's also marked CJC 81. So it's handed in as an exhibit.
Oh, it's a file.
It's like
Oh,
this.
I'm looking for. Thank you, thank you. Yes, we all do see it. Thank you. And has it been shared with?
It's been shared with General Sibiya's legal team, and we only received it late, and we forwarded it on to the legal team at our earliest opportunity.
But I assume we should put it away so long.
That's right. I think that they would need to use the lunch adjournment to go through it. They've not had an sufficient opportunity to read this.
Do you think you'll be reaching it this afternoon? I'm asking because that will eat into their lunchtime, unless you think you'll be using it this afternoon already.
Can I get back to you on that, Chair?
All right, thank you. Yeah, that will depend on what Ms. Killian says.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning. We did receive it approximately 10 minutes ago. We have had no opportunity apart from just establishing who the deponent is. And we will assess our position during lunchtime. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Killian. Are we ready to start, Ms.
Yes.
Kasim? Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. General, yesterday, just before we adjourned, we had, at least from my side, I had concluded, I think, my questioning on the letter of the 17th of January. But before I move on from that, Chair, if there are any other questions on 17 January letter.
Okay. Is that letter, let me just find out from the general, is that letter what you refer to as the disbandment plan or not really?
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. I was still trying to figure out whether I need this statement of my statement in front of me. Now, I was looking at this one and say, where's my statement in case any question come?
I think you do.
She was talking, I thought she was still talking to the chair.
Yes.
Now, when the chair asked me a question, I didn't pick it up.
Yes, I think you do need your statement throughout because from time to time, the evidence leader, the commissioners are likely to take you to your statement. So I think it should be somewhere close throughout. Yes. And the letter SS 13 in file 2, General. Is that what you refer to in your statement as the implementation plan?
I just want to get to the letter.
Yes, yes. SS 13.
Chair, this is not what I refer to the implementation plan because this plan was not followed. The one that was followed is the action plan as was submitted by General Kumalo.
All right, let me. I just asked you to have the statement close by, and I don't have mine close by, but I've found it. Page I want to go to.
I also want mine.
Yeah, in a few paragraphs, in your statement, let me, for example, take you to paragraph 84. There you refer to the implementation plan and you say provided as follows, and you list a lot of things there. Which one are you referring to? SS13 or the one that you say was prepared by General Kumalo?
Paragraph 84.
At paragraph 81 as well. You say, consequently, I changed the name on the implementation plan to my own. And on 17 January 2025, I signed the implementation plan. So you refer to that at 81, you refer to that at 84, possibly you refer to it elsewhere as well.
I refer to this one that has got my initials on the body of the. This is the one on 80. This is SS13.
That's SS13.
13.
So anywhere where you refer to the implementation plan in your statement, you are referring to SS13.
That is correct, Chair.
All right. All right. So before you step off the letter then, if it is the implementation plan, I would like to deal with some aspect of that implementation plan.
Absolutely, Chair.
Yes. Now, General, do you accept that a repository is a place of storage?
That is correct, Chair.
You say that in accordance with the implementation plan, I may just as well call it the disbandment plan, the dockets were to be stored in a repository that was to be established by General Sintumule. Correct?
That is correct, Chair.
Yes. And yesterday you said the plan allowed General Sintumule to establish this repository anywhere in the country, meaning it could be at head office or anywhere else in the country, correct?
That is correct, Chair.
It is only logical then that for as long as the dockets were stored in the repository, detectives could not access them as and when they wanted to, correct?
May I understand the question again, Chair?
It is only logical that for as long as dockets were in the repository, detectives could not access them as and when they wanted to. Is that correct?
It is correct, Chair.
Yes. That must mean during the period of storage, however short or long, investigations would be halted, correct?
It is correct, Chair.
In paragraph 84.2 of your statement, you say that the disbandment plan outlined measures to ensure that investigations would not be disrupted, correct?
Correct, Chair.
Do you accept that this was meaningless because storage of the dockets automatically meant that investigations had to come to a halt? Put differently, disruption of investigations was inevitable. Do you accept that?
No, Chair.
Yes, please explain.
Chair, considering the fact that these dockets were not meant to be withdrawn and be stored, and nothing should happen any further. It was meant for a handing over. And when the handing over is happening, those dockets that are in the process of being handed over are kept in a safe space where no one can say, I don't know what happened to that docket or that docket. Now, as General Sintumule said, they were meant to be in transit back to KZ, and without any waste of time, they were meant to go back. Now, I'm giving this example in a sense that when we conduct an inspection, we are able to call for a docket. We're doing docket inspection. For that week, the officials from head office are at the particular province. They are doing docket inspection. In other words, when they do docket inspection, is when they come and the docket are being put in front of them and they go through the dockets. At that point in time, the investigation is halted. And because dockets are being inspected or audited. The idea here was just to make sure that nothing falls in between the cracks, and it doesn't happen that we don't know where's the other docket, but also to proper account of the docket in such a way that when you receive a docket, you go through the docket, you make sure that as you inspect what you are being given, and you read the investigation diary, you can account for each and every statement that is, according to the diary, should be in the docket, in such a way that you don't find yourself now being given a docket that you think this docket was actually fully investigated. In the meantime, some statements are missing, and this is what was found to be the case. So that is why you have to, or I had to say, just make sure that whilst these dockets are in your hands, they are safely stored where they need to be safe.
General, you've already accepted, and I deliberately made you say correct all the way down. You have already said that it is correct that during the time of storage, detectives would not have access to the dockets.
It is correct. Is that correct?
Now, if that be so, that must result in disruption, however long or short. It must result in disruption of the investigative process. Not so?
It is correct, Chair. It is so. Unfortunately, It is part of the process.
It must be so. Now, did you at the time of putting together your implementation plan know how long it would take between the time of the storage and the time of the return of the dockets? Did you have any idea at that stage?
We had an idea, and the idea was that it must move from this signature to this signature and be redistributed immediately, not for the docket to be stored.
But did you have any idea how long the process would take? Bear in mind, we're talking 121 dockets. Did you have any idea how long the process would take? At the time?
The process could take 3 days to a week, Chair, because this is what we do every day, inspection of dockets. And when you give me now 120 dockets to inspect, I can inspect the 120 dockets in 3 days or in 2 days. That is doable. And then for the dockets then to be sent back to KZN or as it was intended to be.
General, you say you do inspections of dockets every day. You have never called for 181 dockets at the same time for inspections, have you? Remember a few answers back, you said that I can call for a docket to inspect it. You have, I would imagine you have never called for 121 dockets for inspection, all at the same time, have you?
I want to respond to the chair. Let's take it that, Chair, when I say I mean my team. Now, they have inspected more than, remember, Chair, there's a person who will have 200 dockets or 300 dockets to inspect. So we have called more than 121 dockets before to inspect. When we go out there inspecting docket, there are people who's got 600 dockets on hand, 500 dockets on hand. And as we normally send team out to go and inspect, these are the dockets they're inspecting on a daily basis. So it does not necessarily mean that when I inspect 400 dockets, it means that I say I will complete the whole 400 today. But as I'm here, because we send them for them to be there, and they will be there for 3 weeks sometimes, inspecting dockets per provinces.
But the crucial thing, though, is your admission that during the time of storage, investigations would be disrupted. You've accepted that.
I do.
Thank you. That's all that I wanted to establish. I'm going to move to a second point, which I also think would have disrupted investigations. Now, you say in paragraph 84.3.8, PKTT members would be reassigned to other units within SAPS in consultation with General Sintumule. I understand that to mean, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, I understand that to mean that they would no longer necessarily be allocated the dockets that they were investigating within the PKTT, correct?
That is correct, Chair.
So that must mean that new investigators would now be assigned to those dockets, or new detectives, correct?
It may mean that, but on the other hand, Chair, when we're talking about court-going cases.
No. Let's leave out court-going cases. Let's talk about those that still require the investigation before they go to court.
They will be reassigned.
They would be reassigned.
That is correct.
Do you accept that a new detective would first have to take time to get used to the content of the docket before they actually start investigating? Is that correct?
It is correct, Chair.
And some of the dockets could easily not have been as flimsy as that, but quite thick and complex in terms of content, correct?
It is correct, Chair.
So it would have taken quite a bit of time for a new detective to acclimatize themselves with the content of the docket. And indeed, not just the content, also broadly what the investigation was about, correct?
It is correct, Chair. However, Chair, I just want to say the three questions that the Chair asked, I said, and I kept them short to say correct.
Because you had to.
But there is explanation to that, Chair.
I haven't once stopped you from giving explanations.
No, I'm trying not to. I've been advised to keep it short and respond to the Chair immediately.
Let me ask the question again. I'm saying some dockets, I'm sure, would have been quite complex in terms of content and in terms of the investigation required. And that would have taken the detective quite some time to get used to that content and to know what next steps to take in the investigative process. Is that correct?
No, Chair.
Yes, what is correct?
Why I'm saying no, Chair, is that in the police, we lose members every day, every month, in terms of the attrition, natural attrition. It is a standard practice. It is a well-known fact that members get transferred. Members, some of them, they leave their dockets because they are assigned to the task teams, and you will have number of dockets. It's just like when you just get appointed today, they load with 120 dockets. Or what will happen, Chair, is that to get the first docket, you read the A1. A1 statement is the complainant statement. They give you the whole background of the case. Now you see the case. And then after that, on A1, then you can see what was the directive of the commander in red pen, and then other statements that were attached. So it's a normal practice, Chair, that it's not really. It is unfortunate, the system and how the system is built. and how it works. It does not necessarily mean that only the PKTT. And the last example that I'm going to give the chair is this one. Remember, Chair, in December, they took the dockets that were being investigated by a team from head office. They took all those dockets, the PKTT, they took all those dockets, and themselves, they didn't consider the fact that what they expected to have been done in their own docket. They didn't consider having to speak to the stakeholders or going through those dockets themselves. They even returned them without having written any instruction on them or having done anything on them. So what I'm saying is that it is a standard practice. It may be some of the weaknesses within the system, but it is exactly like at court, in the prosecutor. There are instances where, for instance, the prosecutor is running with a case. All of a sudden, either the prosecutor dies or transferred or feel that I'm conflicted, and this docket now get allocated to a new prosecutor, and it happens on a daily basis, Chair.
General, unfortunately, that does not answer my question.
Okay.
All it does is to say that this happens, and then you have to bring in a new detective. That's not what, and then the new detective has to then look at the content. Doesn't answer my question. My question is, when you bring in that new detective, even in the circumstances that you describe, which are that this happens all the time, when you bring in that detective, they have to get used to the content of the docket. And if the content is complex, and what needs to be done by way of an investigative process is also complex, that new investigator will take a bit of time to get used to that docket and also to know what needs to be done. Even in the circumstances that you refer to, which you say happen all the time, surely that must be the position. You can't walk in and within 2 hours you know what you need to do, not in respect of a complex docket and complex investigation. This is only logical. Do you agree?
I fully agree.
Yes. Now, do you agree that these two, in addition to the earlier disruption which you have accepted, do you agree that these two would be disruptive to the investigative process? The fact that in circumstances where you already had PKTT investigators, you halt everything and you bring in new investigators, that too was going to be disruptive to the investigative process.
It is.
That is correct.
Yes.
So again, I make my earlier point that your 84.2 was meaningless. Disruption was simply inevitable. You must agree, based on the other agreements you've already given, it must simply be so, correct?
I choose not to agree with the chair on this one.
Yes.
Chair, in any normal process of exchange or handing over, or this outline measures necessary to ensure that ongoing investigations were not disrupted. At least it should be a plus on my side, Chair, from the chair to say, I agree with you and you did very well here. And dealt with transitional arrangement relating to the disbandment of the PKTT. In other ways, I'm trying to at all times be mindful that we shouldn't lose the fact that docket must be attended to.
Okay, perhaps let me leave out the meaningless because it seems that disturbs you. Let me leave it at the two concessions you have already made, which is the storage of the dockets would result in disruption. The change of investigators would result in disruption. I will leave it at that. Thank you, General.
Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, can I ask 2 questions? General, I'm worried that you have contradicted yourself or I misunderstood you. Remember on the first day when you came here, I asked you a question. Was your instruction to General Kumalo that the PKTT dockets must be transferred to the DT? And that was your answer was yes. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yes. So there was no instruction that General Sintumule must go to KZN and simply inspect dockets. Do you accept that?
I do.
The instruction was that they must be taken away from PKTT and be given to detective and forensic services, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. So when you now say to the chair, all that needed to happen was that they needed to go to KZN and simply inspect the dockets and not bring them to Pretoria. That was not the instruction that you gave. Unless you can show us in the documents that are in our possession where your instruction was clear that the dockets are not to leave KZN. Are you able to show us a document that you have penned or written that says the dockets are not to leave KZN?
Just to quickly answer on saying, no, there is no such an instruction where it says the dockets are not to leave KZN.
Now pause there. Where is General Sentumule based? Where is her office?
She's based at head office.
In?
Head office.
In
Pretoria.
In Pretoria. So if dockets are to be transferred to her, where would they naturally go?
The same applies to General Kumalo.
No, I'm not asking about General Kumalo. I'm saying if PKTT dockets are to be transferred to General Sintumule, who is based in Pretoria, where would they naturally go?
Where they will naturally go is to go to the Deputy Provincial Commissioner Crime Detection in KZN.
But General Sintumule is not in KZN. You have just said yourself that dockets were to be transferred to General Sintumule. That was your instruction.
You see, in all fairness, Chair, in all fairness, what under normal circumstances should have happened was for General Sintumule and General Kumalo to fly down to KZN, do the handing over among themselves, and for General Sintumule to hand over the dockets to the provincial commissioner or to the deputy provincial commissioner responsible for crime detection, under whose command murder and robbery unit falls. She didn't, and she's not the one basically who also brought the dockets to head office. They were brought by crime intelligence by General Kumalo himself to head office.
No, General. General Sintumule and Brigadier Khopoditata went to KZN. We've had that evidence already. My simple question is this. Is there an instruction by you that General Sintumule must hand those dockets to the provincial detective services?
May I correct the commissioner? The files were brought by a Colonel Kumalo from KZN to General Kumalo, the project coordinator at head office. This was not supposed to be the case. So General Sintumule never went to KZN.
General, remember my question was, can you show us your instruction? Remember in SAPS, we work with instructions. So they report to you, you give them instructions. And you've accepted that your instruction was that General Kumalo must hand over the dockets to General Sintumule. Now you are saying to us, General Sintumule should have handed them to the head of the detectives in the province. That's what you say. Can you show us your instruction where you say to General Sintumule, she must hand them to the head of provincial detectives? It either exists or it doesn't. And if it exists, can you please show it to us?
Commissioner, in a normal working environment, I understand I'm now in the commission or before the commission. Just like when I'm in court, then when maybe the prosecutor or the magistrate or the judge will say, show us this. But what happened is that General Sintumule called General Mkopozi to say, now we need to take over this docket. And then General Mkopozi said, you must please speak to the PC before I sign for this docket. That's when General Sintumule called the PC. And the PC said, I don't want this docket here. That's how it happened.
So can we leave it at there is no such instruction?
It's fine.
Because it's either there or it's not. General, either the instruction exists or it doesn't exist.
The instruction that the docket must not leave KZN.
Yes.
I just want to understand that question.
Yes.
For the docket to be brought to KZN.
General, the instruction exists or it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Yes, thank you.
Chair, may I raise,
Yes, General.
may I raise a concern?
Yes, General.
You know, Chair, there's no wrongdoing whatsoever that happened in the process. But the way I am being pushed into a certain corner that says, is there an instruction that says the docket must go to head office or not? I've never given such an instruction. It never happened that I said, take the docket from head office to now. General, it was planned maybe. They decided to take the docket themselves to head office. Now it is on my shoulder. And I'm the one who must now bear responsibility why they left KZN to head office, when in fact I did not give such instruction. That's the only concern I wanted to raise.
Thank you, General. We will assess the testimony at the appropriate stage and see what we think happened or did not happen. Thank you, General.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. On this same topic, the letter we were going to move to may make this discussion even more clear. Could I ask you, General, to have a look at your letter of the 4th of February, and that's SS17.
SS17.
Ms. Hassan, can I just check something? You're not starting a new topic.
I've got SS17.
It's still related to the dockets and the implementation, Commissioner Beloy. So SS17 is this letter from you to the Divisional Commissioner, Detective and Forensic Services. Did you give this instruction, was this letter sent, this instruction issued at your own instance, or was this from the National Commissioner?
This was from me.
Yes, but what made you do this? Was it because you had been instructed by the National Commissioner, or were you acting on your own?
I've never acted on my own other than this is part of the implementation of the decision that has already been taken. Now, having been assigned to conduct a particular exercise, I don't always have to receive a letter from the National Commissioner. This was now my own instance following up or giving orders in terms of what needs to happen.
Okay, so this was at your own instance, this letter?
That is correct.
And if you see paragraph 5 of this letter, you direct the Divisional Commissioner, Detective and Forensic Services, which is General Sentumule, correct?
That is correct.
You direct her to engage with General Khumalo, correct?
Correct.
With a view to do a proper handing over. Do you see that? And,
That is correct.
and then you say what that handover should include. And in paragraph 5.3, you say all cases or projects, documentation relevant to the political killings task team. So it's clear from this letter that you're saying to her that she should engage with General Khumalo to hand over to you all cases or projects, comma, documentation relevant to the political killings task team. And then just to be complete, you say in the concluding paragraph that she's required to ensure that this is done within 7 days. So what I'm saying to you is that contrary to to what you're saying now, that there was no instruction to do it, there does appear to be an instruction for the dockets, amongst other things, because it says cases or projects, documentation, all material, electronic recordings, all evidential material to be handed over.
That's the instruction.
That is the instruction.
Yes.
You agree?
Yes.
So it's clear then that General Sentimule was going to take possession of the dockets and all of the evidentiary material.
That's correct.
Okay. And that's at your instruction.
Yes.
Thank you.
May I clarify something?
Yes.
But taking possession by General Sentimule doesn't physically mean that she's the one who's going to go there, get the docket, get everything, put in the car and bring to head office. It means that now it is under her direct control.
Well, I agree with you. It doesn't say that she should go and collect it. What you say is that she should engage with General Khumalo to hand it over to her.
That's correct.
Right. And she is, as Commissioner Khumalo put to you, and you've accepted, is based in Pretoria. So the only place where she could receive it is Pretoria.
No.
You say no.
Yes.
How else would she receive it then?
If the PKTT is based in Durban and it is about the work in KZN, simplest thing to do was General Sentimule and General Khumalo to fly down to KZN, meet, even if they went with a team, meet, do the handing over in KZN, and then they fly back, it is done.
I don't understand how that would work in practice. Where would the dockets go?
Exactly what I directed to say, let them go to murder and robbery unit.
Where?
No, you said to a repository, please. I'm sorry, Mr. Sim. You said to a repository to be established by General Sentimule. I'm sorry, Mr. Sim. And you also agreed that could have been Pretoria. You may continue, Mr. Sim.
Thank you, Chair. And just to, your message and your instruction has been consistent in all of these implementation, your SS13, the 4 February letter. Let me take you to one more letter then. It's SS21. It's a letter 22 April.
I've got it, Chair.
So I think that this makes it, the interpretation that we are proposing to you is made abundantly clear here. If you look in paragraph 2 of this letter, the last sentence says, okay, let me read the whole paragraph. In compliance with the directive of the Minister of Police on 31 December 2024 and subsequent directives on the matter, You are advised that this process should be finalized by Thursday, 24 April 2024. This includes the transfer of all dockets closed, currently under investigation, and in court to the Division Detective and Forensic Services. There's nothing ambiguous about this directive.
I agree.
All of this was to be transferred to General Sintumule.
That is correct.
So do you still stand by that interpretation that you're trying to contend for today, that it was not that it should be given to General Sintumule to be held in one repository, but that she should rather have gone to KZN to inspect the dockets?
You see, Chair, I think we're talking one and the same thing, in a sense that when I say do a handing over, get the dockets, make sure that as you do your handing over, and whatever exhibit, whatever that is there that goes with this docket, make sure that they are kept safe in a repository. It's a logical, formal way of doing a handing over in such a way that you don't lose any material or you don't lose any exhibit, and that you can account for every exhibit that goes with a particular docket. It was just a precautionary measure that says, make sure that these dockets, all of them, if there are any exhibits anywhere, make sure that they are also kept safe. And there's no any other way it could have been done other than to say, if I am to say, you are the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, and you are also doing investigations that falls under Murder and Robbery Unit. Take those dockets to Murder and Robbery Unit. Now, in between the process, let us make sure that we don't lose exhibit, we don't lose docket, and we don't have any docket failing to go to court because of the process. It's just a simple administrative process.
Yes, but you see the difference between what you're saying now and what you say in this letter is that you don't say in this letter that the dockets should go to murder and robbery. You say the transfer of all dockets closed currently under investigation and in court must go to Division, Detective and Forensic Services.
Murder and Robbery Unit
yes.
falls under that.
So you're saying what you actually meant was that it should go to murder and robbery.
Yes.
That's what you meant when you wrote this.
That is General Sintumule.
General Sintumule has given evidence to this commission and testified that she was placed under pressure to collect the dockets, placed under pressure from you to take possession of the dockets. What's your response to that?
I would agree.
Okay. And General Kamano has also testified and speaks specifically to this period after the 4th of February, the letter. And he said that between 4 Feb and particularly after 4 Feb, he said it was during that period that the Divisional Commission, that General Sintumule was pressing him to hand over the dockets to her. So you agree that her understanding was that she must take possession of it.
Can I explain something, Chair? Please do take into account the fact that there was already a presentation made in Parliament and an action plan was made by General Khumalo himself that says, this is the action plan, this is what we are going to do.
It wasn't yet. There was no such thing at this point in February. This period between, I said, after the 4 February letter.
No, we are in the 22nd of April now.
No, I was referring you to the pressure that was being applied on General Sentumule in February to take, as you agreed, to take possession of the documents, of the dockets.
I just feel that I'm being punished for being effective, in a sense that if I try to say, let us move and let us make sure that we don't keep things lying around, let this handing over be finalized, it's a problem because now someone was being pressured into bringing the docket, and which is, we were working within the official instruction coming from the minister to the national commissioner to us. And we are at all material terms complying with the national commissioner's instruction to make sure that we push the handing over process.
So now you're saying it was the national commissioner who gave the instruction to push this process? Because earlier when I asked you about these letters, you said, no, this was your responsibility. You took initiative on this.
But the letter or the email that was written to me on the 3rd of January was directing me to get involved, communicate the minister's directive to the relevant team, and then the subsequent meetings that took place. Those subsequent meetings were in relation to the disbandment itself and making sure that the minister's instruction is adhered to. And that was what was happening. Now, everything was happening in the normal course of duty, in the same spirit of we are complying with the instructions. So I was, even if I was acting myself, whatever letter that I wrote, it was still within the instruction that I received to say, this is where we are going.
Would you agree then? I mean, I think what you're saying is, no, you did not give this instruction that it should be transferred to the head office. And what did you do then when it was transferred to the head office?
General Sentumule informed me that General Khumalo came, brought the docket, and then she put a team together to do a handing over. And then that's when I started saying, hey, let now this docket. That's when I wrote this letter that says now, because I didn't want it to waste time. I said, let it go, let this process be finalized within 7 days. Because I was trying to shorten even the date, the time in between, to say this docket must now reach where they must be investigated within a very short space of time. Now you can see that time was of essence. And so that we do this process and finalize it without any delay, further disrupting the further investigation of the docket.
That's not quite what is said in your letter of 22 April, because it says you're calling for the transfer of all dockets, again, closed, currently under investigation and in court, to General Sentumule. That's what you're calling for?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So the point is, if the dockets are with General Sentumule and all of the evidence with General Sentumule, they're not being investigated. They're in a repository.
That is not correct.
And that's in fact what happened.
No, it's not what was supposed to happen. We are doing this ignoring or leaving out the fact that what caused this docket being kept at head office for a particular period of time. Had it not been the fact that General Mkhwanazi rejected the docket, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Which, can you just be specific? When he rejected the dockets, when?
When immediately after these dockets, there was a handing over, and they then called him and say, "We are bringing the dockets," and he rejected them. That is the beginning of the problem.
You mean after they were taken to the head office?
Yes.
Okay, and we will come there. For now, what I'm trying to establish with you is that your instructions are repeatedly deliver all of the evidence in these cases under the control of the PKTT, deliver it to General Sentumule.
Let's not use the word deliver it to General Sentumule.
Oh, transfer. Sorry, you use the word transfer.
Yes. Transfer to General Sentumule. This thing is very simple, Chair. If this authority is no longer with this minister, but must go to this other minister. Now, what happened is that the docket that were under General Kumalo must be under General Sentumule. It's just a word of mouth, and the docket been taken to now the murder and robbery unit. It's not something that this really should be complicated or take too long or affect any service delivery, even though there was that in between this delay, service delivery was of course affected. But within the short period that I specifically gave, it was not supposed to be a major interruption or an interruption at all, because a week or 7 days should not be regarded as an interruption, because it does happen that a docket goes by for more than a week without being investigated.
Have you had any experience in disbanding a task team?
Yes.
And have you previously removed dockets from a task team and distributed it?
Not necessarily, because they didn't need me specifically. And there was never such an outcry for a task team to be disbanded, because it is just a task team. For it to be disbanded is just a word of either is done in writing, and then the members come back, the local continue with the investigation. So it's not something major, something huge, something big. Not at all.
Right. I wasn't asking about whether there was an outcry. I'm asking about the removal of dockets from a task team and reallocating them to other investigators. We were talking about 121 dockets. They were quite voluminous, those dockets.
But it's a small number. 121 dockets is a very small number. I'm sitting with more than 6,000 people who are carrying between 200 and 500 dockets.
So you say it could have been done quickly, but the inspection, and you referred earlier to the inspection that was done by General Motsepe. General Motsepe says that the time it took just to do an inspection was from 19 May to 30 May. That's the time period doing the inspection. Do you recall that?
I don't, but I'll take it.
And I mean, and you would agree that there's a difference between inspection and investigation, correct?
Yes.
So in that period of time, all they were doing
Was your answer yes, General? You whispered.
It is a yes, Chair. I'm sorry.
You. Thank you.
and in that period of time, the inspection, according to, in fact, if I'll just refer you to what General Motsepe said, it might be easier.
Paragraph 20 of her statement.
Thank you, Commissioner Kumalo. That's quite right. It's paragraph 20. First of all, let me tell you which file it's at. File 4 of 10.
File 4 of 10. I'm on it, Chair.
Paragraph 20, she says, I instructed my team to conduct an analysis of the dockets and to prepare a detailed report on their findings. This exercise commenced on 19 May 2025 until 30 May 2025.
Paragraph 20, I'm at paragraph 20. It says prior to the meeting of 6 March. Is it the one?
Are you on page 251?
251. Call it paragraph 20. Must I read it?
Yes, it's just, I'm just referring you to where General Motsepe says the inspection exercise commenced on 19 May 2025 until 30 May 2025. Okay, so that's 11 days just to do an inspection report. No investigation could be done while the inspection was taking place, right?
Yes.
And what was your expectation then once the inspection was done? What was to be done with it? Did you give any further instruction?
Before I respond to the Chair, the 11 days that you're talking about that took to do the inspection, there's nothing untoward in that period in doing the inspection. It's part of attending to the docket themselves. It is work on its own. The inspection of the docket, and it takes that period, which means the dockets are receiving attention.
Yes, you see, you said there's nothing complicated in this. It could have been done. You gave an instruction that the whole process must be done within 7 days, meaning it must be back with investigators, right?
The docket,
Yes.
yes, after they receive them for the docket, yes.
Yes. And what I'm saying is that just the inspection process alone took 11 days.
Yes.
So it wasn't quite as simple as, well, it can all be inspected, assessed, determined which station or which murder and robbery unit these should go to within 7 days. That was impossible.
It is possible, Chair, in this sense. In this sense, the team is doing inspection, but ensure that this whole process is finalized of handing over and everybody, whatever that needed to be done is done within these 7 days. I don't necessarily mean that it's very difficult to conduct an inspection. I don't know how they go to 9 days, whether how many people were involved.
11, not 9. 11, not 9.
Yes, Chair. But what I mean is that, Chair, sometimes when we conduct investigation or let's say inspection, I can be alone, sit here as a commander doing an inspection, but we can be 4. There can be 4 of us or 5 of us, and then we share this docket. Then it can be done within a day or 2. So if it's done within 11 days, it means that maybe one or two officials were the one now doing these inspections. I don't know how they did it. That led them to take in 9 days. But what is very much crucial to note, Chair, that I always...
It was 8 people.
It was
8 people.
Yes,
You
yes.
see that in paragraph 28 of the same statement.
I know it was 8 people, Chair, but it does not necessarily mean that all of them were actually going through the dockets. But what is very much crucial in this regard is the fact that we are talking about dormant cases here that were not being attended to by themselves. So it's not like the 10 days that we spent versus the 3-4 years they never attended to those dockets.
That's, General, whether or not what you're claiming is correct or not, and we can get there, you didn't know that at this point in time in any event.
Yes.
You didn't know that.
Yes.
What you claimed now, that in fact there was no work being done on these dockets.
I've demonstrated it already.
You did not know that in February. You did not know that in March. You did not know that in April.
I did.
How did you come to know that?
Remember that the docket came and there was a comment made that they gave us dockets that are actually not, that haven't been attended in a long time. And
Where
then-
was that comment?
Come again?
Where was that comment?
Where was that comment?
Yes.
It won't be in writing.
Oh,
But the docket were handed over they were collected from KZN, I think on the 27th by a Colonel Kumalo from PKTT to General Kumalo, who handed it over to General Ntumulo the 28th of March. Now, from the 28th of March, General Ntumulo already indicated to me that we've received 118 dockets. Now, those 118 dockets, the team is after, she says, I've instructed the team to just conduct an inspection on those dockets so that we must check under, let's say, what circumstances or under, or let's say, for instance, how far were they investigators, those dockets? So it is the normal course of duty or how we do it when we do a handing over. You've got to be able to know that this docket, I found it under this condition. This is how it was. Now, they said this docket, if you can look at it, many of these dockets are not political related cases.
who said that?
General Sintumula
And when
General
did she say
Motsepe.
that? And when?
It was after the handing over.
How long after?
It's not a difficult question. It's just that I'm listening to this question. How long after? I mean,
I asked you a question because you said, look, the fact that it took so long and the inspection, it takes whatever it is, that period of time, you anticipated me where I'm going, I think. You tried to anticipate my question by saying, you know, there was no work being done on these dockets in any event. So what does it matter if an inspection period was 11 days, which is a long time?
to me, I was given the inspection report that demonstrated that these dockets are very old cases.
When were you given that inspection report?
Unfortunately, at this point in time, Chair, I'm sure Chair, I've mentioned it before. I'm not in office. I don't have gadget. I don't have anything that can remind me or assist me to remember anything, everything. But the bottom line is that I do have the report. And this report I read. And what I unfortunately even failed to do as I was reading that report was to also see which ones are political, which ones are not political related. And
Just an approximation, then perhaps, General, it was May, it was April, it was June.
And to be clear, you're referring to the inspection report,
inspection report.
By General Motsepe.
by the team,
Led by General Motsepe, because you've referred to the Motsepe report.
can we refer to the letter that was a report that was drafted by General Motsepe, because it contains the date?
Let me help you, General. General Motsepe says in paragraph 24 of her statement, thereafter, on or about 6 June 2025, I compiled a draft unsigned report in the form of an executive summary of the inspection exercise undertaken. The purpose of the draft report was to motivate for a budget allocation for these dockets to be investigated and to get direction from General Sibiya and General Sintumul.
Yes. So when is the date?
The date is on or about 6 June
6 June.
is when she compiled the draft report.
Yes.
So then she says on 7th June, let me just read it to you. On 7th June, I met General Sibiya and Sintumule to give them feedback about our intention and readiness to go to KZN and Eastern Cape to start the investigation of these 121 dockets. So it was on 7 June that she met with you. I assume that she would have given you the draft report then.
It's not the report I'm talking about. It's not the report I'm talking about. I'm talking the one that starts on the 3rd of, we call it the Motsepe report. That's what I want to check. We do have it.
Aren't we able to locate that? So that should mean, General, then it would have been later if this one was, what's the word she uses?
6
The
June.
word, no, I'm saying the word she uses to describe that one.
Draft.
Draft. So if this one was a draft and its date was about 6 June 2025, so the final, the Motsepe report that you are referring to would obviously have been later than the 6th of June, I would imagine.
What I wanted to read out of that Motsepe report, Chair, is because it gives a background. Out of the background, I was going to get the sentence that I think I need. That tells me that this is what happened.
Are we not able to locate the Motsepe report?
It's in file 6, which we just find.
It's 272, General, in file 6. You'll see the bottom page numbering in red because the top one will say MCM1A2. I think it's the very first document, if not the second.
I think that's the one, Chair.
Do you have it?
I've got it, Chair.
And what sentence did you want to take us to?
May I read it? May I read on 31st December 2024, the Minister's Office issued an instruction. I will leave this paragraph. And okay, it says, I leave this paragraph. Discussion. On 28 March 2025, at about 10 o'clock, a meeting was held at Head Office Crime Intelligence between the Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence and Lieutenant General Kumalo and the Divisional Commissioner Detective and Forensic Service Lieutenant General Sintumuli, and proof of her acknowledgement is available. Now, this is now 28 March. A total of 118 dockets under investigation were handed over to Divisional Commissioner of Detective and Forensic Service by Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence. The agreement between both divisional commissioners is that the docket management and administration of the dockets will be in 3 phases, namely docket under investigation, docket pending decision from court, docket to which are presently with the former political task team. But now, on 2025-04-23, 3 dockets under investigation from Eastern Cape were handed to the Divisional Commissioner, Lieutenant General Sintumule. And then during the inspection, I'm now going to 3.2. During the inspection, Captain van der Berg established, according to the subs 5 entries, the last work done on the investigation and instructions given in this specific docket was on 6 January 2024, and the inspection officer was Lieutenant General Kumalo. This docket was investigated together with Mtata. Now this one is on the Namhla matter. But what I wanted to just say is that Lieutenant General, when I read the 3.5, Lieutenant General Kumalo responded by writing information note signed on 2025-05 indicating that in October 2023, the task team commenced with a comprehensive analysis of both case dockets. During this review, it was discovered that no, it's okay. It's an irrelevant thing. What I was just trying what I wanted to show here, I thought I would come across where a clear background is provided as to what happened in terms of the timelines.
Okay, so it wasn't of any assistance to you?
Not much.
Okay. So that report, however, was, and I think, yes, this is MCM1. So this is the Motsepe report, which we know, at least the draft, was only ready on 6 June. So you would have only received the report sometime after 6 June, correct?
No. I think when they have done, it was just before they wrote a letter requesting for the budget, I guess, because I remember at that point in time, I was still being given the document, the thick document that shows the one that I presented in terms of all the dockets that were inspected and the list of case dockets. So it is around about that time. Maybe.
But then to Chair's point, that would be much later because the letter requesting the budget, General Motsepe signs it on the 23rd of June, 2025. It's MCM2. It follows that one that you were looking at.
Yeah, let me concede in that regard.
So maybe you can look at it and confirm on page 287, that's her signature. It's 23 June 2025.
Same file as...
You were looking at the same document is MCM1. The one that follows it is MCM2. I don't want you to concede things that are not there. So maybe look at it and confirm that that's her signature on 287. It's the same file, file 6.
Yes, this is a signature on the 23rd of June. Yes.
Okay, so that confirms... why don't you finish what you were saying? You're confirming that you only received this report sometime after the 6th of June.
Yes.
Okay, so you had no idea in February or March or April, any time before, what the status of the dockets were, the 121 dockets, the status of investigations. You had no idea because there had been no inspection done.
No, it was been done in between since the receipt. It was been done. Remember, they received it. They received the the dockets and the inspection started.
Well, the inspection team has already put the
Commenced.
evidence before us, and they said they started on the 19th. It took a team of people. They started on the 19th. They finished on the 30th. They compiled a report. The draft report was done on the 6th of June. At some point after that, you were provided with the report. Right.
Yes.
So to go back to my question, you therefore could not have known what the status of the investigations were of those dockets prior to receiving this report.
Yes.
Okay. So you didn't know what the status of those dockets were in February, March, April, etc., when you were issuing these instructions?
No. It doesn't mean when I say yes, I didn't know because I didn't have the report. But what is important is that, remember, in between this period, Chair, we have management meetings. We're meeting every day. We discuss these things. I know where they are with what. So it does not necessarily mean that the fact that there was no physical finalized report given, I didn't exactly know what was going on in my house. I get updated on a daily basis what is going on. So I knew that we have been given files, and the information that was given to me is that in some files, certain statements have been removed. In some files, like in terms of the number of years, they haven't been attended to. So this, then, to me, I was interested to have that final report then.
Okay. So you wait for the final report. These dockets now have been there since the 28th of March. In all of that time, until it was returned, ultimately, in August, I believe, 2025, you would agree that no investigation was done on those dockets, correct?
I agree, no investigation was done. Chair, may I add, I don't want it to look like I'm just being asked one question and I want to still go to Polokwane and come back. But there was no investigation done, I agree. But had it not been the fact that when the docket was supposed to have been taken same time to KZN, the investigation wouldn't have been stalled.
Okay, so you said you were in constant supervision of your team. What did you do? What did you do before the inspection report? In fact, why did you insist on the inspection report? Why did you not instruct that the dockets go back to KZN? And I'm not saying back to PKTT on your version, to the murder and robbery unit, so that it can go into the hands of investigators.
I think we already passed that stage. I already said that I gave that instruction, and General Sintumula spoke to General Mkwanazi. General Mkwanazi rejected, and then we had to then speak to the National Commissioner, who then said, okay, make a plan. I will attend to it, but make a plan. In the meantime, for the docket now to receive attention, we were not now in a position to send investigators to KZN to just go investigate. To put the task team together. Now we have to take people who are carrying dockets from somewhere and put them together here. And then to say, now we have to go to KZN, now we need a budget. And now we have to write to the National Commissioner to say, National Commissioner, the KZN PC doesn't want to accept the docket back. Now, what must we do? We are going to appoint a team to go and investigate. Then he advised that, okay, now put together a team so that the work must continue. Then we had to do a budget for the members and the number of teams that we were recommending. It was not our intention to disband a task team and form another task team. But we are now caught up in the middle of a situation where the KZN PC said, no, I don't want this docket in my province. Let them see what they are doing with it. Now, if that is the case, what other options did I have as the head of investigations was to make sure that work continues. And for the work to be continued, it needed a budget. And it was sent to the National Commissioner, and it stayed for quite some days. He only signed it after I was suspended, and he signed it and actually said, no, the docket must go back to KZN. That's when the docket went to KZN. Something the National Commissioner could have actually given that instruction a long time ago and say, this docket must go to KZN by tomorrow.
Well, General, I think it's important how you explain things. You say the National Commissioner said to you, well, then make a plan. That's not what he said. That's not the evidence. The evidence and from you, but also from the National Commissioner himself, is that he said General Sibiya is the one that ordered that these dockets should be removed. He should see to finish, basically. He must sort this out. So, and that's completely different from the impression that you're now creating, that when General Mkhwanazi refused to accept the docket, the National Commissioner said to you, well, make a plan. It didn't happen. And it's important that you express it accurately. He did not give you instructions to make a plan. Even on your own version, he said to you, he'll see to finish. Let Sibiya decide what to do. Isn't that what happened, in fact?
May I respond, Commissioner? It is not true that the National Commissioner said, I get rumor. I hear rumors that the dockets are here at head office. What are the dockets doing here at head office when they must be at the stations, as was discussed? It's not what happened. The National Commissioner would not even say that and say, let General Sibiya see what to do, because he's the one who gave instructions that the docket must come to head office. I've never given that instruction that the docket must come to head office.
I'm not discussing with you now whether or not you gave that instruction. I'm not saying that. I'm saying your characterization of the National Commissioner's response when he was informed or when he came to know that the General Mkhwanazi refuses to accept the dockets. His response was not a commander or a superior to you saying, well, we have a problem, come up with a plan. That's not the evidence that we've had. And that was not your account. When you criticized him, remember in your evidence, you criticized how the National Commissioner dealt with this. The account we have from him and from you, at least I thought you agree with that account, that he said, let General Sibiya deal with this because he created this.
Not because he created this. He said, let General Sibiya use his discretion.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, he must attend to it.
Let him use his discretion how to deal with this.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
And that was in a positive way, not in a negative way, because we are with him.
Let me give you my understanding of this, the way it appears, and then you can comment. Is that a very serious disruption with the administration of justice occurred in the handling of these dockets. I think you'd agree with that.
I really don't agree with that, Chair.
I don't understand why, if dockets are not investigated for months, that is interfering with the administration of justice. And I'm not talking about you personally right now, I'm just saying as an objective fact, what happened here was very serious. and it constituted interference with the investigation of active cases.
I fail to reconcile the fact that the evidence leader ignores the fact that these dockets were not being investigated since 2018. For a very long time, they were not. But even when you even when you compare 3 to 5 years to 3 months, and you find 3 months to be the travesty of justice compared to the 5 months where those dockets were sitting gathering dust somewhere.
General, even if it were true, which there's a different version, let me just say, about whether they were being investigated by the PKTT. Even if it were true, that is no answer to what I'm putting to you.
I will simply not agree that there was a travesty of justice by not over the 3 months period or 5 months period compared to the 5 years period. I still believe that it was also not by our own making or my own making, because let us accept the fact that someone refused to accept to receive the docket or rejected the docket. That part on its own was not a smart move either from the provincial commissioner to reject.
That's why when I began, I said I'm not assigning responsibility anywhere. I'm just saying from an objective point of view, dockets sitting in head office for that length of time not being investigated is an interference with the administration of justice. And you said you would not agree with that.
From the neutral perspective, I agree with it. From a person who is neutral watching, not apportioning any blame to whoever, I will say it is true. It is correct.
It was very serious interference with the administration of justice.
I do accept that one.
What I would like to next say to you, and this you can comment on, is that if you had not issued, what started this problem is your issuing these instructions for the transfer of all of the dockets to General Sentumule. That's what started this problem.
I don't agree.
I'm saying to you that that is my observation on it, and you're free to disagree with it. Why is it? Why did you instruct that all of the dockets should be transferred, including the court-going dockets, when you knew that that wasn't part of the plan? I mean, that wasn't what was under discussion in your meetings. Why did you instruct that even court-going dockets should be transferred?
Just to remind myself, Chair, may I go to the action plan that was suggested by, starting from what was said in Parliament by General Kumalo, and also the meeting of the 6th, where he came up with the action plan on what must happen.
Yes, certainly. We can go there. It's file 6, and it's HKS2.
File 6.
Page 368.
Advocate Hassim, just check if the action plan he's not referring to is the one in file 2, page 271. Remember, there was the briefing and the action plan.
I thought he referred to the 6th of March.
Yes, it would have been the same, but there's the action plan, which is the steps that needed to be followed. It may be that it also appears in the same document.
It's page 10.
Yeah, it's the same on page 10. Page 375.
Sorry, Commissioner Kamala, I need your assistance.
It's
File?
the one he's looking at is the action plan in file 6 on
Oh,
page
it's file six.
375.
Yes. Okay.
But you will see that it's a much later version. The earlier version that I think he wanted to refer to is the one in file 2 on page 271. Because the one we're looking at now, General, you see it even has dates of July 2025. Just look at the last item there and the due date, where you were on page 10. You see that the last entry there is for July 2025.
Yes, that's the one that I want to read.
Yes. But this is the much later version because the earlier version had the action plan that you said was presented on the 6th of March.
Chair, let me just have it on the side.
File 2, Advocate Hassim, on page, it has 2 page numbers. The other page number is 271, the other one is 337.
It's 337. It's the same. It's the
Yes.
same.
It's SS 19, I think. SS 18.
Sorry, General, so is this the plan that you wished, is this the document you wanted us to refer to?
That is correct, Chair. Now,
Maybe before you speak to it, General, this plan, who's prepared this plan?
is Crime Intelligence, the project coordinator, General Kumalo.
And is your evidence and what you're going to be saying that you then started implementing General Kumalo's plan?
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Now, I'm looking specifically at this one action plan on page 10.
On page 10.
Oh, this one, no. I see it's a new one that I'm not aware of because you can see this one, it has got 2025-0704. No, I'm going back to the original one.
Yes, that's why I said don't look at page 10, because page 10 is a much later. That's why it has entries for July. Go to the actual one that was presented in March.
Yes.
That one you find in file 2, it's SS 18.
I've got it, Chair.
Yes.
I've got it, Commissioner. Approval of disbandment plan by Minister of Police on 6th of 3/2025. And then stakeholder engagement with NPA, including...
Which page are you reading at, General?
I think it's 337.
Yeah, please let us know where you are reading, and please go by the page numbering top right-hand corner, please, so as to guide us.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
My apologies, Chair.
No need. Thank you.
I'm reading at page 271, the action plan.
No, General, Chair said the right-hand corner, so that would be 337, not the left-hand corner.
337.
Do you see that there are 2 page numbers on that
I
page?
see they are confusing, Chair.
Yes. So look at the one on the right and just
337.
put it on the record.
337. Thank you, General.
Thank you, Chair. This action plan is the one that was presented on the 6th of March to the Minister. That says approval of disbandment plan, and the responsible person is the Minister on the 6th of March. This is, in other words, by the 6th of March, this was the due date set by themselves. Stakeholder engagement with NPA, including prioritization of the 114 cases, National Commissioner on the 17th of March. Approval of the new call-up instruction and financial authority 2025-2026 National Commissioner on the 17th of March, returning the docket under investigation to the KZN Eastern Cape is the NPKTT Project Manager and Division Commissioner, Detective and Forensic, both of them, 17th of March. Provide progress to the Minister, National Commissioner, and Deputy National Commissioner, Crime Detection, and submit the final close-up report, Project Manager, Divisional Commissioner, Detective and Forensic Service, on the 25th of March. And in fact, the very first one didn't even have provide progress to the Minister, National Commissioner, and Deputy National Commissioner. They took me out of that list, the very initial one. And then I think I asked a question to Jonathan Tumul and say, why am I not part of this, but yet I'm the one accounting? Then General Kumalo responded by saying that, no, we thought because we account to you and we are the one doing the job, we won't put you here. But then they put my name, me here as well as the implementation. Now, on the 28th of March, that's when the handing over was done. Now, I realized that they have done the handing over, and now the dockets are here. They must go to where they need to, the work needs to start to be investigated. I accept that. I also then included the court dockets and any other investigation that is running to complete the process of, because I didn't want this thing to prolong of disbandment. It just had to be done. If it had to be done, either we do it or we don't do it. So it had to be done. And that's what happened.
But that wasn't part of the disbandment plan that was discussed on the 6th of March. It did not include cases on the court roll. Isn't that so?
It is correct.
So there was a difference of view between you and General Kumalo and the others who prepared this plan.
Yes.
Yes. So why would you insist that even those on the court roll, that's what I asked you, is why did you insist that those on the court roll should also be transferred? When it wasn't part of the plan, as you agree, you've taken us now to 6th of March. And perhaps, Chair, just to be complete on this point, in the same document, if you turn back a few pages to page 334, the last bullet point.
Are you there, General? 334.
The last bullet point says the 114 dockets, and then it's broken down, that are on the court roll will remain with the team that will be scaled down. That's the PKTT. That will be scaled down both in KZN and Eastern Cape until the finalization of the prosecution processes. So this was envisaging that those on the court roll would remain with the team until they're finalized. So why did you act on your own and say, despite the plan, even those on the court roll should be transferred?
I didn't act on my own. We were with the minister, together with the National Commissioner, when this plan was presented before the minister. The minister, when it comes to, because there was one where they say retaining the docket under investigation to KZ, and it gave the date. And then there was one that spoke about the court docket Then the minister said, this is partially approved, but I'm concerned about the court cases because they could take 5 to 10 years to come. And as a result, go and revisit this. So the minister, I think, he even testified, even on the day, I'm not sure, but there was this, it was not wholly approved by the minister as is. He said, I'm worried about the court cases because they may take 10 years to be finalized, which means the PKTT must still continue for the next 10 years. Now, commissioners, you must have heard also General Khumalo talking in Parliament saying that it takes, if it took 7 years to establish a task team, it must take 7 years to disestablish task team. It's not how it works. If a task team was established for a particular purpose, to go and extinguish the fire there, once the fire is extinguished, it can be disbanded. You don't need the same number of years. Now, as we speak, in their own version, the cases that were started in 2018, 2019, they said are going to be finalized now in 2025. And they said, all this, in Parliament as they presented, they said that they expect that all the cases will be finalized in 2025. Themselves saying all the cases will be finalized in 2025. To date, I don't think that's the case because it's not how it works at court. So which means when we say disbandment and then we say the court cases, the team will remain with the court cases for the next period of time. It may be 10 to 15 years to come. Now, as far as I'm concerned, as far as we are concerned, as the detectives, is that if cases are transferred, even the investigating officer who investigated this case can still go with his own investigation. The rules are not strict or hard enough, fast and strict to say that.
General, I think the question, you're going far away from the question that's been asked of you. You referred to page 334 of this plan, which you referred us to, the 6th of March presentation to the minister. And 334 says that, that in that last bullet point, that cases that are, or dockets that are on the roll will remain with a team that will be scaled down. So this is on the 6th of March. Your letter of April. So you were in a meeting and you seem to now be, reconciling with this plan on the 6th of March. But that report or that plan on the 6th of March says the matters on the roll or the dockets on the roll will remain with the team. They will not be taken away from the team. But you in April, even an earlier date, but in April, you say all dockets must go to General Sintumule. So your instruction in April contradicts what is contained in 334. So you have to have an explanation. And that's why I asked you earlier, my question, if you remember, I asked you earlier, is your evidence that you then started implementing General Khumalo's, I call it General Khumalo's plan, but I'm speaking to this plan. Is your evidence that, and you say, yes, I started implementing their plan. That's what I was acting on. But that's not what you are doing in April. In April, you give a contrary instruction to what is contained in 334. It's one or the other. You either carried on implementing your plan, which is what SS21, the letter of April, is about. It's your plan. You carried on with that. Because then it doesn't make sense that you would give the instruction you give in April and still say, well, I was implementing their plan. Please explain that.
What I'm explaining, Chair, is that I think it is important to confirm, and I do have it somewhere, I don't know if it's also in my statement, that the minister partially approved this plan, this action plan, not wholly, not as a whole. He raised concerns when it comes to the court docket and say, if you say the court docket will remain with the task team, it shouldn't be the case because it will take too long.
So can we then agree that in April, when you gave this instruction in April, you were not executing this plan? You were executing a completely different plan as relates, at least for present purposes, as relates to dockets that are going to court. You were not implementing this plan. You were implementing your plan, taking into account what you say, the minister expressed concerns about dockets that are going to court. Can we at least agree that?
I want to say, Chair, I was implementing this plan, but I was pushing for completion of this process.
Yes, that's your justification. That's your justification for what you did, that I was pushing. I'm not there. I'm trying to establish a factual inquiry to get an answer to it. It is 334 says the dockets that are on the court roll will remain with the team. That's what it says, 334. That's General Khumalo's plan. Your letter of April says differently. It says even those dockets must go to General Sintumule. Can we agree that it's a fact that comes out of these documents? Forget why you did it. I just want us to agree on the fact.
We do, Chair.
All right, thank you.
Just to add to Commissioner Aloy's point, even the much later plan that was presented to the minister on the 27th of March had the same entry. That's the page 10 you were referring to. On page 372 in 56, it also says court-going cases, all 117 of them. Remember the much later plan? You said this one was partially approved. And in March, on the 27th, they had to present a new plan to the minister. And you referred us to page 10, page 375 in file 6. Do you remember?
On this, the one on page 10?
Yes, in file 6, remember?
You see, Chair, this one, quite honestly speaking, I see it for the first time.
No, listen to me, General. Later in March, remember there was a plan presented to the minister on the 6th of March.
All right.
And you say he partially approved it and told them to go back.
And
on the 27th of March, they revised the plan and they presented it to the minister. And we all know that that's the day when all hell broke loose. But the point being made is that on page 7 of that 10-page document, on 372, that entry remains that the 114 dockets that are on the court roll will remain with the current investigating officers. So just to make it clear, it's not new investigating officers. It's the same investigating officers. And the point Commissioner Baloyi is making is that you were not implementing this plan. You were implementing your own plan because your own plan was that all dockets must come to detective and forensic services. So you can't say you were implementing General Kumalo and General Masemula's action plan, because their action plan did not contemplate court-going dockets being taken from the current investigating officers. And you can read it for yourself. That's what it says. General, it says that. That's what it says. You can have a justification for why you did what you did, but the action plan is clear. And that is Commissioner Baloy's point. So you can't say the action plan was that the dockets were to be taken away from the current investigating officers. That's not what it says.
May I comment on something, Chair, if you allow me? If we listen to General Sintumule yesterday in the recording, and she say, why are they keeping the court dockets? Why must they still keep the same docket and be sleeping in hotels to just remain and keep the court-going docket? What is there to do still? Because it's a court-going docket, investigation is complete. Now, which means the court-going docket, it's a done deal. Whether the investigating officer goes with it or it goes to the next investigator, the bottom line is that it's done. It's not like an investigation that will require. So I understand the process, what the commissioners are saying, that I was implementing my own plan. I was implementing the plan that even the minister raised a concern and said, I'm worried, however, about this thing of the court docket remaining with the team, because which means if the docket are going to be there for the next 10 years, this instruction is not going to be complied with.
General, can we just agree that you were not implementing the action plan, you were implementing your own plan? Can we just agree on that?
I will agree,
Yes.
Chair.
And at that point, Ms. Asim,
I'll return to it after the adjournment.
let's adjourn and resume at 22. Let's adjourn.
Thank you, Chair.